I think in Westminster 7:5 and 8:6, there is an implied reference to both the symbolic dimension of Old Testament forms and the prospective typological dimension of Old Testament forms. And Voss is saying the same Old Testament form functions in both ways.
Yes.
It is the sacramental means by which God communicates Christ's saving power to the faith of the Old Testament elect, and as a type, it looks forward to the actual coming and accomplishment of that very power at the cross. So when we think about, to take it back to Jeremiah 31, when we look at some of the blessings here, and we're leaving aside just for the moment those who would read Jeremiah 31, 33, and 34 as saying there's exhaustive knowledge of the Lord throughout the covenant community, the circles of election and regeneration are coincident and coextensive. Let's just table that for a moment. We're asking now, how is gospel power communicated to the Old Testament Jew such that people were saved before the coming of Christ? How did they enjoy, in an anticipatory way, new covenant blessings? What we're saying here is these Old Testament forms that were anticipating Christ as types were also symbols that communicated the vertical power of heaven.
So for Voss, might we say, more accurately than the way I depicted, it in a sense it's certainly the same Old Testament form, but it could certainly also be describing the same line on the chart, but it just depends on the direction at which we are looking at it. So Old Testament sacrifice is symbolic in the sense that it's a means of grace for the Old Testament believer, but it's typological in the sense that it anticipates and prospectively and proleptically demands the death of Christ.
Yes.
So that's the same line. We have another, in the sense, if we're graphing this, Old Testament sacrifice points forward to the finished work of Christ. But there are other dimensions of this too, and this is where I was getting confused a little bit. Because we can also speak of, and maybe Voss isn't speaking in these terms, but we can also speak of Old Testament forms being symbolic of what is presently true right now in the heavenly spaces.
In terms of an analogical correspondence.
Yes.
I see what you're saying, Camden.
But that might not be specifically Voss's definition. I may be conflating other definitions.
Yes. So
that's the vertical line that is not specifically proleptic, meaning it's just a vertical line with a positive change in y, in the y dimension, but no change in the x dimension.
Can I throw out an example and you tell me if I'm on the right track with what you're saying here? The prophets, priests, and kings of the Old Testament. In Voss's Reformed Dogmatics, he speaks about the Pactum Salutis and Christ being, in a sense, anointed by virtue of the Pactum Salutis as our mediator. Now, he hasn't actually come incarnate in the flesh to enact his work, which he has covenanted with the Father to do, but he has been appointed as our mediator in eternity voluntarily. So we're still talking about the economic voluntary work as it is planned in eternity past. And Voss in his Reformed Dogmatic says that all of the Old Testament offices of prophet, priest, and king are but the expressions, the organs, he calls it, of that eternal Pactum Salutis reality of Christ prior to the incarnation in the heavens. They are the means by which the Son of God as mediator exercised his office as mediator during the days of the Old Testament.
Yeah, that's a better way to, yes, that's a superb example of what I was trying to describe. Okay. So we would say then that maybe David's anointing in 2 Samuel, if I'm correct, 1 Samuel, is anointing, and then, his kingship coming to be coronated in effect and enact that throughout 2 Samuel, that his Old Testament anointing would be symbolic of Christ's being appointed king in the Pactum Salutis. It would be Vossian symbolic, or the people of God might receive some sort of spiritual bent. Maybe that's a bad example, but it's a Vossian typological of the future reign and rule of Messiah post final judgment.
And it's Vossian sacramental symbolic.
Yeah, so in that sense, it's sacramental symbolic.
So it not only replicates something of the eternal reality in the Pactum, it not only anticipates something that will transpire in the course of human history on earth, but it actually becomes the instrumental means by which Christ is exercising his office as mediator through the agency of mere men in the Old Testament economy.
Precisely.
See, this is why, and I know we're jumping ahead here. This is way too far to jump ahead, but one of the things that Owen says distinguishes the Old and New Covenants is that while both have a mediator, the mediator of the Old Covenant is Moses, and the mediator of the New Covenant is Christ. And at one level, I certainly agree with that. Moses is, quote unquote, the redeemer of the Old Testament, if you want to use that language. I think Voss says something close to that in biblical theology. But on the other hand, Moses is the one appointed by God who is mediating the grace of God to the nation of Israel as he intercedes for them, as he descends from Mount Sinai with his face reflecting the glory of God in the heaven of heavens. He's the one communicating, through whom God communicates gospel grace to the people of old.
Yeah.
So to say Moses is the mediator of the Old Covenant should not be said in such a way that Christ is absent.